As a brand new baby hunter in perspective of the long-lived franchise that is Monster Hunter, I enjoyed Monster Hunter Wilds to the point I started looking back in time to see what came before. I personally watched Ocean Is and his story breakdown of the whats of the lore of specifically Monster Hunter World, and Team Darkside for the who's, or again the whats, of what we are fighting. More specifically, some of the creatures' lore after learning the majesty of the Elder Dragon Fatalis. There were clearly some deep and intriguing things to learn in the world of Monster Hunter, and that knowing that no matter how many times we put Fatalis down, he will always come back like he's goddamn William Afton, it piqued my interest to say the least. That being said, I wanted to go over some creatures I'd love to see come to Wilds. I asked some of my friends and what they would want to see, and I also pushed this question to any viewer wanting to share in the comments down below. Of course, with some logic to the choices. As cool as Zora Magdaros was, a living volcano the size of an actual volcano would be hard to implement in a space not specifically made for it. So generally, the very unique beasts like Zora or other very special case creatures like Xeno'jiiva in odd places would be a miracle to make into any other Monster Hunter game. In reality too, after the flood of Elder Dragons we had in World, there would be a fairly select few Elders from World that can actually make the jump and end up in Wilds, but other Elders from the ages could be another story. Though that is me being cautious, as Capcom could decide to throw out the book on safety and say rule number 1 is to have fun, and give us an expansion with 8 Elder Dragons to face. In the end though, unlikely. I was gonna say no flagship beasts as they are called, but I realized that flagship really just means the cover art beast and are often a very pliable and reusable creature. As Rathalos is a flagship monster, and he's had so much screen time in alternate variants over the years that it wouldn't make sense in the end. Either way, let's begin. As a timetable establishment, we just had title update 2 adding Lagiacrus, not Lagiacrus as Eric said it, Lagiacrus and Steve, aka Ceadeus. This is also all opinions, so take everything with a grain of salt, as everyone's got different flavors and fancies, and some people have been around for a lot longer than others. And if I mispronounce anything, my bad, but I am damn certain it sounds better as Lagiacrus than Lagiacrus. Starting with some of my friends' suggestions, we have Ahtal-Ka from the 4th generation, otherwise known as the Palace Mantis. Personally, this one I would love to see added, as Wild seems to be a bit scarce in the bug monster scene. So far, we just have the 2 of Lalabarina and Nerscylla in terms of large bug creatures, and it could be quite at home in the desert of the Windward Plains. Instead of collecting scrap for Ahtal-Neset, I could see them acquiring crystals that the Kanafa people use for their wind chime. A quest where an unknown creature started to harvest the crystals and started stealing the mine deliveries of chimes could be an interesting introduction, as the chimes imitate Raidao, the local apex predator, and everything avoids him in the region. What would seek out the call of the region's apex could be a concerning creature. Next up, we have the Yamakurai and Yamasumaki. Putting them together as they are practically the same kind of creature, a surprising entry as it's classified as an elder dragon, but when I look at this one, dragon is the last thing that came to mind. I would say it's more of a starfish catfish that somehow can fly, like an SCP version of Torterra. A weird one to say the least, but he could be right at home in the Scarlet Forest, or the ruins of Wyveria, possibly the Wounded Hollow, if it becomes anything more than the arena pit it is, and it seems to be at home in both deep forests and mountains. More from my friends, there is Ceadeus, aka the Shining Giants of the Depths. After the introduction of the Lord of the Sea Lagiacrus back into Wilds, the possibility of more ocean beasts coming around becomes more favorable. Truth be told, if we get more aquatic leviathans, we're gonna need more underwater square footage though. A massive sea serpent with an equal sized set of bullhorns and strength powerful enough to shake the earth beneath the waves. Originally, its fight was entirely underwater, so it might need an expansion to water combat to, accommodate such a beast. Nonetheless, taking on more ocean giants sounds like a fun time. Moving into a more recognized name, Valstrax. If the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird and the SR-72 Darkstar had a baby and it was born an Elder Dragon. A flagship of the 4th gen, the Argent Comet is a very unique opponent. Known for cracking the sky in a ball of red fire, Valstrax would be something to challenge any of the creatures capable of flight and leave them a smoldering mass left to plummet to the ground. Some surprise attacks from above can make any hunter have a very bad day. Thinking of a power clash between Zoshia and Valstrax reminds me of Godzilla and Kaiser Ghidorah going after each other, and that is a hell yeah moment. Going from low orbit to beneath the earth, we have the Mohran family, specifically Mohran and Jhen Mohran. A pair of sand eaters to give the opening Balahara chase a run for its money might only be at home in the Windward Plains, but a massive alligator-like beast with a massive horn for impaling anything that gets in its way. Can't imagine many monsters that would walk away unharmed after a poke from either of the mountain dragons. The Scorching Blade is a Tyrannosaurus Rex if it had a massive blade for its tail that could breathe molten ore from its mouth. Glavenus is another brute wyvern, and that classification could use some enrichment in its variety in wilds. I'll cover a few more when we get to the beasts I would like to see though. Glavenus is one of many, like the Tyrant King of Dinosaurs, but it's unique in its ability to cleave monsters in twain just from literally turning around. Any monster's tail are a problem, but this one is a much bigger one. Not knowing what it looks like, I imagine the great sword made from this beast being just a section of tail that has a handle. Rounding out the friends picks, the last one they added was Tobi-Kadachi, a famed wyvern like a wolf with the snake head and strategy like your sibling that shuffled socks on the carpet to zap you with a little bit of static. Jumping through the Scarlet Forest like lightning in a bottle, giving Odogaron a rival for competition of the fastest of the Forbidden Lands. Never heard of this one personally, but a good friend of mine added it because, and I quote, hard to fight, but it was pretty. For a few of my picks, I won't lie, I bend my own rules a little bit, but as Captain Barbosa said, more like guidelines. Won't lie, I am enjoying wilds to the point that I want to fight literally everything they can throw at me, and so in reality, I want everything brought back. But I would take any T-Rex variant, every blank animal but a dragon. Alas, to pick a handful, I should start with the Lord of the Rotten Vale. Vaal Hazak is one of the post-main campaign Elder Dragons in Monster Hunter World you end up needing to take care of, and it is certainly an odd one. An appearance like a dragon wearing the flesh of another dragon that rotted to slime years ago. It rules over a land where Elder Dragons go to meet their end. A graveyard unlike any other, as it calls to all creatures in the new world when the end approaches. Like the Grim Reaper guiding the dead to the afterlife, it holds dominion over centuries-old bones and the effluvium that drains from the lands. The most metal dragon that doesn't have anything to do with metals. Next up for me would be Barioth and Tigrex, as I kind of lump them together in a special category. There are plenty of wyverns that creation was take a blank and turn it into a dragon. I know it's a wyvern. However, these two are a special case of prehistoric apex predators made into dragons. Tigrex, of course, being made in the likeness of the Tyrant King Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Barioth being made of the Smilodon, aka the saber-toothed tiger. Some of the most recognizable predators made even more fierce, and you have to fight them. Plus, we need more ice beasts in terms of wilds, as they make up about 1/10 of the total roster. Hirabami, Laganga, and Jhen, which the last one is a mean beast for sure, but ice monsters make up less than half of the Ice Shard Cliffs native monsters. You can see what I mean, we just need a little bit more icy in the field. Another pairing I'd go for are what I would call some Furious Fists. Any Monster Hunter fan can tell I am talking about Brachydios and Rajang. Some brutal fighters for sure, and many people want Rajang in wilds just to see how it would throw down in turf wars against all of the new opponents. A raging ape that would rival King Kong if it had size to match. Not to mention, it can go Super Saiyan. Then there's John Henry if it was made into a creature feature. It may not have any fingers, but Brachydios has a slime on its blunted arms like nitroglycerin. Strength and fury to bore a hole in a mountain if it was determined enough. Plus another case of a short roster, as nothing besides Kongalala and Deshagama can afflict blast according to some wikis. Even though I could have sworn a Jarrakan could, but either way, more blast creatures are indeed wanted. Attempting to wrap up on an incredibly imposing beast, Gogmazios. And could you really blame me for including this in a first round of picks? Oil is a word that comes to mind. Covered in an oil-like substance and able to breathe a laser of superheated oil, black like it was a shadow come to life, and red eyes to pierce into your soul. Gogmazios may just be as weird as it is frightening, as its diet is sulfur and gunpowder, and possibly even more frightening when you learn it has a Dragonator lodged in its back. A weapon meant to take on the largest and most powerful of monsters you can find, like the legendary Fatalis of Old Castle Shrade. Did I also mention it eats frickin' gunpowder? I know that there's some creatures that literally eat dirt and metal, but gunpowder is a spicy seasoning more powerful than anything I would put on any hunk of beef. With this fun little project of mine coming to an end, I once again ask you in the comments, what monsters of previous Monster Hunter games would you want to see make it into the new generation? Be it from a spin-off or even a comic if there are any out there. It doesn't even need to be a canon creature for sure if there is such a thing as any extended universes. Would you like a higher skill gap dragon like Elatrion of Monster Hunter World? Something that may not belong like the fiery Dire Moralis that lives underwater? Or something straight from mythology like the Leshen? Or something cursed and just plain ugly like the Kezu? I won't hate you if you want the Kezu, but I will judge you. As a closing statement as well, if you would like to see any other videos like this from me, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, if you just want to support my channel, watching to this point is already more than I can ask for, but if you are feeling generous, a like and subscribe is even more appreciated. And on that note, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.